Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This video is going to be over the 1D notes on dilations, is what we're going to be talking about. So the instructions first tell you to go to this website, geogebra.org /geometry. Okay, geogebra.org /geometry. The directions are also on your note sheet. So make sure you follow that and log in here. You'll see some buttons. I don't know if your thing is going to look totally like this, but you may just see a screen that sort of looks like this. If we hit more and scroll down to more, and it'll pull up all the tools that we're going to have to use here. And so that way, all the tools are to our avail. And we're going to use a lot of these throughout the course of the year. So it'd be kind of cool to make sure you play around with this and sort of get familiar with it a little bit. Okay. First thing I want to do is just do some simple measurements here. So let's create a polygon. So I'm going to hit this polygon button right here up on top. And again, watch the videos you need to, pause it as you need to, rewatch it as you need to. Hopefully the videos are nice and clear, and they should be. Okay. So polygon, and we're just going to hit, we'll do four-sided. We'll do quadrilateral. So I'm going to click one, move the mouse, click another, move the mouse, click another, move the mouse, click another, and I'll come back to my original point, A. Okay? So if we have a four-sided polygon, a quadrilateral right here, we can measure the lengths of each side. We can measure each angle. And we could also measure the area on this thing, okay? So we're going to do the length of each side. We're going to go down to this measure tool right here about halfway down, distance or length, okay? You can either select 2 points or a segment. I think it's easier to just do 2 points. So if we hit this distance button right here, I'm going to click A and B. Voila, it'll give us our distance of 7.3. Okay, and we'll continue that for the rest of these. So B to C, there's our distance 10.8. D to C, there's our distance 8.6. And A to D, our distance is 7.8. Okay, so that'll give you all your distances right there. If we wanted to do area, okay, we'll click the area and it says select polygon, circle, or conic. So we should be able to click right here inside of our polygon right there, and there's our area, 69.9. Okay, calculates that automatically for you. All right, next thing we can do the angles. Okay, so now if we want to measure angles, we're still under measure right here. We'll go to angle. Okay, and it says select 3 points or 2 lines. I think it's easier to do 2 lines. So let's say I want to find angle A right here. Well, I'm going to click this line segment AD. It should sort of give you a little bit of a highlight there. I'm going to click AB, and voila, it'll give us that angle 125.8 degrees. Okay, so I want to do angle B. We'll click segment AB. Again, you should see it sort of highlight there, and then click BC. It should highlight there as well, and bang, you get your angle 67.7. Make sure your mouse is hovering like right over that line right there. And if you see like the mouse right here, this looks like a regular arrow. When I hover over a line, it turns into that little hand thing right there. Okay, so that should know that your mouse is where it needs to be. Okay, so we continue with this one and this one for C, that gives us an 87-degree angle. And then on this last one right here, we'll click that and we'll click that for angle D, and we get 79.5 degrees. And I think we can hit the move button here. We can move some of these numbers around if they're a little bit hard to see. All right, and same thing with any of these areas. If some of these things sort of get scrunched together, we can hit the move button and move these things sort of as we need to, okay? So if we wanted to sort of put them inside the shape so it's a little bit cleaner, that's cool, whatever sort of floats the boat, okay? So that's how we can draw up a shape in GeoGebra and measure the stuff here. Also, another cool thing is if we go to move, and if we move one of the vertices, it should change all the other things up in sort of in real time here. Okay, so let's say I take point B and move it. Okay, we see the angles are changing. and the side lengths are changing for AB and BC, and the area of the shape is changing as well. Okay, so all that sort of happens there in real time as we sort of move all this stuff around here. So it's kind of a cool little thing that we could see how stuff changes. Okay, so let's say I just sort of move this around and I create sort of this shape right there. Okay, now I want to talk about something called a dilation. All right. You may have learned about dilations in Algebra 1 or 8th grade, perhaps. And we could do dilations on this thing too. And if you're not familiar with dilations, hopefully this lesson kind of gives you an introduction to what dilations are and how they're sort of used in geometry and math and things like that. So we can scroll all the way down here and we'll go under transform because dilations are a type of transformation. Okay, so we're going to hit this thing dilate from point. Okay, so it's going to say select object and center point, then enter factor. So dilate from point. We're going to click on our polygon right there, and you should see all the sides of the polygon, A, B, B, C, C, D, and DA all sort of highlight. We're going to dilate it from a point. Okay, so I'm going to click a point, maybe right here. And let's say I want to dilate it by a factor of 2. All right. So now it's going to come up here and create our new ABCD. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move this dilation point. And here's another thing you can kind of do, which is kind of cool. You can sort of move the dilation point around and it'll change sort of where the dilation is from. So I'm going to sort of move it right here and sort of get that out of our way. Okay. And so what I would like us to do is let's take our new shape ABCD and do the same measurements on that. Okay. And again, if we got to zoom in, we can zoom in and we can sort of hit the move button and move the screen if we sort of need to here. And so zoom in, zoom out with your right click on your mouse. Hopefully you have a mouse to do that. Okay, so if we measure the sides again, boom, 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 boom. I don't know why I did perimeter here. Huh. I don't want to do that. So measure that. So we can measure the sides again. We could also measure the angles again. So 53.3 and whoops. Just my luck today. Okay, so angle, make sure again the mouse is hovering right over that line. And you should see a little hand right there with the finger to know that it's where it needs to be. Otherwise, you're going to make a boo-boo like I did. We don't want that. There's our angles. Again, we can move the numbers around if we need to make sure they're kind of visible here. And we can do area as well. And again, we could always move the point of dilation because, I really don't want to have overlaps here. We can, but, if the closer the point of dilation is to the original shape, it's going to create a little bit of overlap there. Okay. So, move it to where it's sort of out of the way and you can see kind of what you need to see. So that is our lesson on this. So I want you guys to take some time and do a couple more of these. I would also do one smaller. So I'll show you how to do that real quick here. So we can go up here to this little 3-line thing. We'll clear the page. Don't save. So let's do another, if we do another polygon real quick. Let's say I want to make something a little bit smaller, okay? So let's say we want to dilate this point. Now, if we're going to dilate it to make it smaller, the scale factor needs to be less than 1, okay? So here's our thing. We hit dilate, click it, find a point of dilation right here, point D. and it needs to be by a factor of less than 1. Okay, if it's by a factor of 1, then it's just going to be itself. Okay, if it's a factor greater than 1, it's going to make something bigger. If it's less than 1, it's going to make something smaller. So let's say we just want to do it by 1/3. You put 1/3 or 0.33, either way would work. Okay, and voila, now it gives us this new shape, sort of right there. Okay, this new triangle, A prime, B prime, C prime. Again, do the measurements on there. Okay, calculate the lengths of the sides and the angles. If you want to do area, you can do area as well. And that is it for dilation. So take some time and sort of familiarize yourself with this. And then on the 1D notes afterwards, answer some of those questions on there. Do the best you can to answer some of those questions on there. And we'll get more into the lesson sort of in the next unit. Okay? So that's that. Y'all take care.